Welcome to Greek Verse a Day on Revelation 1:4. As always, if you have your Greek Reader's Edition handy, I encourage you to work from this and look to the screen for some help here. We'll read through twice. I'll give you an opportunity to pause and work through some of the text yourself before I jump in and make my comments on it. So here we have Ioannes, tais, hepta, ekklesiais, tais, in, te, Asia, charis humen, kai irene, apa ha on, kai ha ain, kai ha erkamenos, kai apa ton hepta pneumaton, ha enopion tu thranu autu. And another reading here a little bit faster this time. Ioannes tais hepta ekklesiais tais in te Asaia. Charis humen kai irene apa haon kai haen kai ha erkamenos kai apa ton hepta pneumaton ha enopion tu thranu autu. So I'll give you a second to go ahead and pause here and see what you can make of this verse. Maybe you can make sense of a couple words. Maybe you can make sense of a bit more of it. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and work through this. This is another verse in Revelation where we do not have an indicative verb. So we have, in fact, sort of two separate sentences here. You notice the half stop right about here. That raised dot is a half stop. So this part is going to be sort of one section, and then this part is going to be another section. So if we were to partition it out, we might do it something like this. So we'll go ahead and make lines there just so we know what we're working with at a time. So both of these sentences are going to be structured with a nominative agent, a nominative sender to a dative recipient or recipients. So right here with Ioannes, this is the name John, and it is a nominative masculine singular. So this is one of those nominatives of the first declension. Notice this eta sigma ending doesn't necessarily look like what you'd expect for the nominative masculine singular in the second declension, which would normally have that os ending, and that's because this is a masculine of the first declension. So John in the nominative, to the seven churches. So all of this right here is in the dative, followed by another dative phrase after it. So what's going on here is we have tais going with ekklesiais directly. So these are parsed the same way, dative feminine plural, and then hepta is stuck in between the two, and it's an adjective and it's a number meaning seven. But what's peculiar about numbers, or about this particular number and many other numbers in Greek, is that they will not change their form. That is, they are indeclinable. They won't look any different even when they are matching the word that they're modifying in parsing information. So this is technically also a dative plural, even though it doesn't look like it. And you notice that down here, we have the same number again, hepta, and in this case, going with a genitive plural, and it looks exactly the same. Even though down here, it's genitive plural, up here, it's dative plural. So to the seven churches, and then another dative phrase following right behind it. We've talked about this in a previous video. This is called apposition, where Greek will take a phrase in whatever case and then add to it in apposition, putting one thing here and the next thing right next to it in apposition to further describe it. So this phrase is further describing the seven churches. The seven churches, the ones in te Asia, in Asia. And here, this definite article is it's substantiving the prepositional phrase that follows it. To the ones in Asia. So this is one of the things Greek can do. It can take its definite article, stick it in front of a variety of different kinds of phrases, often a prepositional phrase, to make that into a sort of whole entity. To the ones, namely the churches who are in Asia. So to put this part together, John, to the seven churches, the ones in Asia. And then our next phrase here, we're again going to have a nominative, actually two nominatives with charis and Irene. Both of these are nominative words, grace and peace. And then it's peace to you all. So a second person plural personal pronoun in the dative case. Grace and peace to you all. And this prepositional phrase, one really, really long prepositional phrase that's actually a couple different prepositional phrases in here. We have another one starting right here. And it's telling us who is sending grace and peace. So grace to you and peace from apa. And notice here we would normally expect after apa a certain case. You learned in Greek 1 that the genitive case is going to follow apa to mean from. But here actually the nominative follows it. And this is what in fancy Greek grammatical terms, sorry if you can't read my chicken scratch, is what's called a solecism, where we have a what we would expect grammatically does not actually happen. We might even call it a grammatical mistake. It's not quite a mistake because John does know that a genitive comes after apa. He does it down here. And the reason it seems that he has a nominative coming after apa is because he wants this phrase right here, this nominative phrase, to echo the Septuagint of Exodus, where God reveals God's name as I am. So this is an echo of that here. So from the one who is, this is a present participle of me, the to be verb, from the one who is, and ha-ain, the one who was. Here we have an indicative to be verb, but it's being substantized by this definite article. The same thing going on up here. We have the definite article substantiving what comes after it, as we did over here. So the one who was and the one who is, present participle, and the one who was, and the one erchomenos, the one coming. So here a present middle participle, nominative masculine singular from erchomai. So if we were to underline it, I underline participles with 3 lines. And then we have also another group or entity from whom the grace and the peace come. So from, and then properly here we have the genitive following the preposition. From ton hepta pneumaton, the spirits, 7 of them, hepta, the 7 spirits. And then ha, a relative pronoun that's antecedent is these 7 servants. So this is a neuter plural, and it's referring back to the pneumaton, which are also neuter plural. The 7 spirits which, and then we sort of have an understood are in here. We don't actually have the to be verb in Greek, but it sort of stands in between the relative pronoun and this preposition enopion, which means before, which are before to thronu autou. So this is telling us where they're before the throne of him, or his throne, namely the throne of the Lord.